At the time, England got into the war. I was at the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, Michigan, which was only maybe 35 miles from Windsor. And I felt very strongly about what was happening in Europe. And so I joined the Royal Canadian Air Force. That was it. In winter, I went to a recruiting station. And told them I'd like to join the Royal Canadian Air Force. And they signed me up, and I went through the whole rigmarole. Physical, everything else.
And when you said you were an American, how did they handle you then? Do you recall it? Was there any
problem? Never brought up. As far as I can remember, there was nothing said one way or another.
Well, that you would have been at Dunnville when Pearl Harbor, or at EFTS when Pearl Harbor happened in December '41.
That's right.
And what was the talk as soon as you heard about Pearl Harbor? What was the talk amongst all the fellas and the American fellas in the RCAF?
We knew something was coming. We knew something was coming.
And did any of the fellas say to you American fellas, well, I guess you're going to go to transfer back, or you're going to be in the war? Was there any discussion like that?
No, I don't remember anything about it.
You were on the same course as Cecil at Dunnville, is that correct?
Yeah.
And you guys were there the time they were transferring. Some of them transferred back, but I noticed you fellas stayed in and got your wings and carried on. But did they give you an option to transfer when you were at Dunnville?
No, nothing was ever said to me about it.
Because I know some fellas transferred on that course.
Well, they got kind of, I don't know, they changed their mind about what they wanted to do, I think.
But you were never approached to say you could transfer?
No, I wouldn't have transferred anyway.
But they never brought it up? If you want to go, you can go?
No, nobody ever brought it up.
I see.
At least when I were same plane. I mean, we went to what the hell do they call it?
Bagotville.
Yeah, in Bagotville. Yeah, we were there together. And he was supposed to go overseas the same time I was, and he missed his train.
Yeah.
So he got on. He was left there, and he got on the ship, another ship the next day, I think.
Yeah.
And that changed our routine. We separated.
So you were there at Bagotville when he clipped the flagpole with the hurricane?
I was with him. I was the guy flying with him.
Oh, is that right? And what happened there? What was the...
Well, they made him wash planes for a long time.
Well, was it just buzzing the field and caught the pole?
That's all we used to do. What the hell else was there?
So when you got to OTU there, what was it like flying a Hurricane all of a sudden from a Harvard?
Oh, well, it wasn't that much different, except it was faster. That's all. It was more maneuverable, faster. I loved it. Yeah, after I finished my training up in Bagotville, Quebec, I went overseas, and then they put me in a gunnery school, and I went through that real fast, and from there they thought I was pretty good. They sent me to #1 RCAF Fighter Squadron, who was stationed up on the Scottish border at Milford. We were a night fighter squadron at the time and flying Hurricanes. And after a while, we were sent down from Milford to Biggin Hill in Kent and given Typhoons, Hawker Typhoon. Yeah. That's the fastest thing they had there.
Yeah.
And but it was no good at altitude, so it was a low-level fighter. And that was about it. What we were supposed to do was patrol the channel. But they were coming over and dropping bombs on the channel cities.
Yeah.
So we were supposed to chase them. Never did catch them.
How'd you find the Typhoon? Was it to fly?
Well, it wasn't as maneuverable as the Hurricane.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But it had an air scoop that must have been 10 feet long.
Yeah.
And it was so fast that in order to land the plane, to slow it down, you had to drop your air scoop.
Yeah.
And when you did that, you had very little control of your joystick.
Yeah.
So it had its moments, let me put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And after I was there a while, I couldn't handle the food, to be very frank with you. It was pretty nasty. So I figured, well, I may as well be with my own group, and I asked for a transfer. Had a hard time getting it.
Why is that?
I don't know. Evidently they thought they needed me. Or something.
So you went to London to Army
headquarters? Well, Biggin Hill is,
is
in Kent, which is right near London.
Yeah.
And I'd get a day or so off and go into London. And I drove to the Air Ministry and see about transferring. Finally, they transferred me. I went into the U.S. Navy.
Why did you choose the Navy over the Air Corps?
Well, because to get into the Navy, you had to have a college requirement. And that's why Cecil couldn't get in. And so he went into the Air Force, and I decided I was going. I always liked the Navy.
Yeah.
So they sent me back. I thought I was going to go to the Pacific, but they sent me back and put me through the whole training session at an accelerated rate, of course, in Corpus Christi, Texas. And then they put me in they didn't know what the hell to do with me, and other fellows liked me. There was quite a few of us. And so we were put into a ferrying squadron, where we were stationed at Floyd Bennett Field in New York, Brooklyn. And we'd pick up the planes at the factories, check them out, and then fly them to the West Coast to go aboard the carriers in San Diego, or wherever else they sent them. So we'd pick up planes back there that had to go east, and the planes that had to go west. And finally, somebody came up from Atlantic City. He was forming a squadron to go to the Pacific, and interviewed me and said, "You're just the guy I want." Well, I kept waiting for my orders and never got them. I went up to see why, and I found out that the commander of the base said, see, I was what they call a lead pilot. I'd take a bunch of the new ensigns, along with me, and sort of keep tabs on them. And the wind-up was that I couldn't get my orders. He just canceled them. So I stayed there, and right towards the end of the war, they finally let the orders come through, and so they sent me to Grand Prairie, Texas for a month of instrument flight training. And while I was there, the war ended. That was it.
Yeah.